Welcome, moon lovers. This is Curious Kat, and today we are taking our 8 minutes to discuss an important key and to unlock some magic. So, our topic this month is initiative, and I have my illustrious co host, Imber, here to answer a question. So,
Hello, everyone.
yeah, how you doing? That's one question. Okay, we have more.
I have 8 minutes on that. Well, I'm doing great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to see you, Kat. Good morning. What you got? What question do you have?
Okay. All right. So, as we're talking about this initiative, we're really talking about courage and self-empowerment. So those are like the overarching theme. But this month, or not month, this phase that we're in, the last quarter, this is all about like just looking, we've already gone through the full moon where we've looked over, shone a light, and this is actually like feeling, on the home stretch. So the question I have for you today is about, or the key actually is inventing your own pathway. So as we look through that, the question is, what was a defining moment that changed your life forever?
Oh my God, Kat, you picked that for me specifically, didn't you?
Did.
And for all of you listeners, we don't know what question we're going to ask the other person, right? Like I have no idea what she's going to throw at me in this 8 minutes. And she doesn't, when I ask her, she doesn't know either. So it's kind of fun and it's kind of interesting because I've had a lot of really strange defining moments in my life, and some of them I've never been allowed to talk about. And as we age and as we do this work, meaning Kat and myself together, it becomes easier to talk about. And I realize there's not reasons to hold back, that we all go through trauma. And I've had some weird traumas in my life. And I think that has a lot to do with it. Anytime you go through a trauma, as hard as it is at the time, on the other side, there's so much to utilize. That's where the growth really happens. That's where aha moments come. So I have like 3 traumatic events, and that's where everything changed. And my number one was as a little child, 11 years old, I found a hit of acid, and it completely exploded my mind in ways that were actually great. I mean, granted, that's a terrible thing for a little kid to go through. And my mother will shoot me when she hears me saying this out loud. But I'm here, right? Everyone,
Yeah, you survived. Right.
survived. But as traumatic as that is for probably the parents more than it was for myself, it opened up not only portals in my mind of energy, how it works, entities, spirits to talk to, ways for me to communicate, and the belief system that I still hold to this day that I saw in that evening of tripping at age 11. Yeah, so that really invented the pathway that I'm on today. That it was really the seed of how Luna's Vault even started, right? That beauty of not only the metaphysical exploration that I enjoy and love so much, and love having conversations with others about, that it's how it all started, kind of. But more than that, of like the belief system, I guess, of what I said, and the science behind it, right? I became interested, not science in school of just, like go to a science class, it was boring as crap, but the
Right.
hows, like once it all started really turning, of like, how did my mind do that? I want to know the science behind it. Um, and putting the science with metaphysics together and seeing it all as one, and not understanding why others can't see it as well as I could, or why others couldn't see that all religions had a same thread through it and others couldn't. Um, and wanting to explore the whys and share any knowledge that I had in a way that I could that didn't freak people out.
Which is a great point, because especially, like you said, not being able to talk about it. But I think as collectively as people are opening up about their experiences, whether they be trauma or just being whatever that looks like, like I said, we talked about in previous episodes of like the big T's and the little T's, but trauma is trauma no matter what it is, right?
Right.
And so I love that you put together the scientific part of that and the metaphysical, and I very much agree with you on the it's really interesting how other people are not putting the two together, because they have that old programming of, just do as I say, not as I do, that.
Right.
And so
Right.
now opening it up and saying that. So so as an 11-year-old, how did this all play out of, do you feel like it was something that you said, okay, I see that this has really changed me? Or was it like, let's sweep it under the rug of, I just experienced this major event and, oh, I'll have to go back to playing Barbies or whatever. Maybe not 11, but
Yeah, it was Matchbox cars. It was a little bit of both. Like I didn't have anyone to talk to about it. I had my parents, and they did a great job and help working through it. But it was almost like, okay, once we talked about it, it was done, right? Like stop.
yeah.
But it wasn't for me, because it opened my mind to things that I could see things, and I could see entities talking to me like a year, 2 years, 5 years to this day. I can still see entities talking to me and connecting with me. And it's simple. And the easiest way that I can explain it, if you've never experienced anything like it, is watching cloud formations. Right? You see a cloud formation, all of a sudden, well, it just turned into an elephant or whatever, right? That
Right.
happens to me everywhere I look. Right. And I learned how to turn it on and off as best I could. Let me clear my throat and okay, maybe I couldn't turn it off, but I learned how to deal with it the best that I could, and how to ignore the negative parts, and realizing, okay, if something's going to scare me, I've got to set a boundary, because no one else can see this, and I'm safe. I've been told I'm safe. I feel safe until that happens. And then like, no, I don't want to talk to you, and trying to find like energetic boundaries. And then I think that's probably my fascination with time's up.
Oh, I love it. Okay, yeah.
Forging those pathways ahead. I love it. So inventing your own pathway, that is a strange way to do it. I don't suggest giving your 11-year-old kid acid. My parents didn't give it to me. I found it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Mom, don't get mad. I found it on the floor. Anyway, but we covered a lot. We
Yes,
covered a lot. And everyone's path is going to be unique. And everyone's path has a story of its origin, and it needs to be unique. That's, to me, that's the beauty of this, our soul's purpose, right? So that's my key takeaway. What key takeaway did you get from this, Kat?
so really, I'd like
Don't
to.
give your kids acid.
Exactly.
Don't do
All
that.
right. Definitely that one. So really want to actually highlight just a little piece of this, because as someone whose family has a lot of, or we've experienced mental disorders in our family, that when I hear you talking, it sounds very much like the things that I've seen people with mental issues growing up with, which is not to say it's the same thing, but that's where I really wanted to put a little clarity there. Because if you are experiencing something out of the norm, it's like, and I do believe as the veil gets thinner, as this collective consciousness grows, that there's going to be things that we're going to see and hear more easily, readily, and what you explained, that if you start talking about it to someone else, that they may not understand that you're okay in that collective consciousness, that you've called that in, and that you feel safe there, and put up your energetic boundaries. But if you feel like that you are slipping or have a mental disorder, to absolutely go get that checked out. And
Yes, yes. The help is out there.
yeah,
Absolutely. There are people to talk to about this. And if it does feel more metaphysical than scientific, you have options.
yeah. So that was my key takeaway, was really, just hearing your experience, which I love, is so fascinating. My childhood was a lot different than that. I would have been, surprised if I would have found something so exciting in my childhood.
I know what it was.
Well, of course not, right? Because but to understand, that like you said, we all have our own origin story here. So thank you. Yeah, that's great. I'm sure we'll be excited to hear
Think
more.
today, like, microdosing psilocybin is a way to help people overcome many anxieties and disorders and psychological problems. And there is a place for it. I got a huge dose at a young age, but I don't recommend that. But it is a treatment and a therapy, and it does expand the mind. And
Yes.
it it it's it can be a beautiful experience. So,
Yes. Absolutely. And really, it's beautiful to actually shine this light on this for everybody, because like I said, as someone who grew up with a family of mental disorders, it's like it really is something, because the mind is so powerful, and people, I mean, we only use what
a very small,
it's like a little tiny section.
yeah, yeah. So, all you moonbeams listening, I know you've got stories and we'd love to hear them. Please, please share with us. We love hearing from you guys, whether it is experiences or if you have any questions, any feedback, please let us know. You can reach us through all the socials, and you can email us at info@lunasvault or send us a DM. But until next week, where we start another cycle, it begins again with the new moon. So until then, happy manifesting.
Be manifesting.